Welcome back to the channel. We're here today with not a Dell back there, and I call it that because this is a computer I made from like completely parting out a brand new Dell and kind of ending up with two computers at the end of it. If you're interested in that, there's a playlist for it down in the description where I kind of go through the whole thing. But today is kind of the first standalone video on this thing where we're going to do something just with it beyond its Dell roots. And that thing is going to be to put this Thunderbolt 4/USB 4 expansion card in it. Some of you are probably thinking the same thing I did when I first kind of came across this, which is, what's the big deal? You just plug a USB card in and off you go, right? No. Turns out these things are kind of complicated. These expansion cards are only available for certain motherboards and certain manufacturers. Like I think I saw this one for ASUS, whatever products. For what it's worth, not a Dell has a Prime B560 Plus board in it, which this should be fine with. And like 20 or 30 other motherboards from ASUS should be okay. And then I think I saw maybe an MSI one. I can't remember, but anyway, they're unique per hardware vendor. You can't just buy this and plug it into your HP and off you go. And the reason for that is because these require like direct memory lanes and direct CPU lanes. It's like a big deal because the format is so freaking fast. Speaking of, some of you are probably asking, why would you even want to do this? USB 4/Thunderbolt 4 is basically the same thing as super duper fast USB combined with like super duper fast HDMI. It's kind of a one thing does all connector. So in theory, you can just plug like one USB-C looking cord into the back of this thing and power up everything on your desk with it. So for people with laptops and desktops that want to go back and forth between their hardware, it's kind of like a universal hub standard type sort of deal. Not going to get super deep in the weeds on that. If you are interested in one of these, you probably already know what it does. In fact, a lot of you probably know what it does better than I do. But anyhow, what we're going to do is pull the thing out of here, take a first look at it. I'll show you some of the, more interesting things or things I thought were interesting. So yeah, this thing has a boatload of connectors along the bottom of it, including for external power. That's actually a requirement for some features. This also has to go in a specific slot on the board, I think the 4X slot, because it needs all 4 channels of direct access. But yeah, it's kind of a thing to actually install this. We got to go into the BIOS and enable some stuff, and I guess there are some driver things. Like this is actually kind of a chore, from what I can tell. But we're going to find out together. See what else we got in the box. That looks like a USB 2 pin header cable, which we'll need. That looks like a DisplayPort jumper that we'll need, because you have to like plug the outside of this thing into your graphics card if you want it to do all the one cable kind of stuff. Now, in truth, I don't really need it to do all that, but you might. Looks like another one of those for your dual screen support. And that's, I think, USB 3 header pin that we have to connect as well. And then a user manual that has been widely reported to be crap on the internet, so we'll probably discard that. And a driver CD, which we very well might need. Ooh, not a driver CD, a driver DVD. A rarity. Let's get tucked into it. Alright, so let's heave the old girl up on the desk here. Yeah. So I believe we're going to want to work like right down here in this corner. That's where the 4X slot is. And everybody says to use the lowest one. And you'll also notice all the pin headers are down there. So things are probably going to get a little bit cramped. So it looks like to even give you guys a fighting chance at seeing what's going on, I'm going to have to redo some wire routing here, which is okay. This thing was for sure built down to a price. It was intended to be a budget project anybody could do. So the wire routing and stuff isn't very elaborate in it. Okay, so I'm just going to zip tie over here. I need to snip her off. Now this guy's free to roam. Now you can see the pin headers all down there. So that's where we're going to be working. I was mistaken before. One of our bags of cables here is going to actually be the Thunderbolt cable. It looks like it has a USB 2 and a Thunderbolt. Where is the Thunderbolt header? It's tough to see everything. Right there you see our USBs. It's a little hard to see, so right there where it says header, that's our Thunderbolt header. So we're going to need to plug in there, and then our USB 2 header right there. Here's the USB 2 connector. You can see it's got a blanked off doodad there, so you can't plug it in wrong. The Thunderbolt cable also has one of those. So there you can see right above the second E in the word header, there is no pin. That's where that dead part of the socket's going to go. And it looks like I made myself a mess with my Wi-Fi wires or some such thing. So I have some housekeeping tasks to do here. Let me get them done. We'll catch up in a minute. And before we go any further, everybody's favorite, insert Tecmone fake porno music. This is peeling so poorly I wonder if I wasn't supposed to. But I've started it now. Okay, so this sticker actually does wrap the whole freaking thing all the way around. That's some of the reason I'm having trouble. Okay then, it's naked again. Or naked for the first time, I guess. 6-pin PCIe power. Oh, and for the time being, I've taken out my Avier media capture board because it's not going to be able to capture itself anyway. So just did that to make it a little easier for folks to see. And this has the same film on the back of the card. I'm going to leave that alone. No, I'm not. I'm peeling it off. So I've got to think these cards get pretty hot because the stuff that plugs into them does. So thinking we don't want that plastic. Alrighty, so it's about this time I just figured out what some of you have probably been screaming at me all along. This board has no PCIe 4X slots. What I've got are two 16X slots that I'm presently using. The capture card I definitely need to keep. To the horror of most of you, the video card I don't. The CPU in this thing, this is a 10th generation i7, so nothing fancy by today's standards. But it does have onboard graphics, and this is just a GT 1030 that I put in it for fun. I don't actually need it. This machine is my video editing computer, but that's very CPU intensive, not GPU intensive. I'm sure that does vary by software vendor, but this one, not an issue. So, goodbye GPU. But the next question I'm going to have is which 16X port to put it in. I'm going to go with the one up from the bottom. I mentioned earlier in the video, documentation on this thing is really poor. So the manual doesn't actually tell me what to do. So our live gamer card is just going to go live up here for a little bit. Or maybe forever. And I did check, I can get a board that would allow all three cards. But if I were to do that, I would probably just build another computer around it. I have spare CPUs and all that stuff, so. And for those of you concerned about this situation with the CPU cooler and the card sitting right by the fan, this is a hilariously overkill cooler for what I'm doing here anyway. These fans almost never spin up to their potential, so shouldn't be a problem. Back to where we were. Let's put this guy in the 16X slot. Okay, what do you know? That actually plugs in when you use a compatible socket. Who knew? Time to get this junk set up and turned on. From that point forward, we'll probably be looking at stuff through video capture output of whatever this thing's doing. Hopefully it does something since, we've changed more stuff than I intended to. Alright, so for our first attempt out of the box, I'm not going to do anything but see if the thing will just boot. We're not going to mess with BIOS settings or anything else just quite yet. Where's the power button on this thing? There we go. Oh, a power cord will help a lot when you try and turn stuff on. Normally I have 85 of them that are choking me to death in my sleep, and of course I can't find one right now. Found one. Let's try this again. Fans come on, blinky lights, that's all good news. Oh, there we go. We're doing some sort of Windows update. Just what we need right in the middle of the video. Having some technology problems with my capture device, which is exactly why there's a good capture device in the actual YouTube computer. Working on your tools is always kind of a hassle. Anyway, let's jump over to what is hopefully a working screen capture. Yeah, looks like we got it this time. We have another device in here, which I'm assuming is going to be the capture card. Now we can reboot this thing and get into the BIOS and start configuring stuff. Let's just shut it all the way down. It did just install a mystery Windows update. Back up we go. I think we want the delete key for the BIOS. Yep, delete or F2 apparently. Now we got to go turn stuff on. I think search sounds like a good idea. Discrete Thunderbolt support? Yes, let's go ahead and enable that. Whether or not it's right, I'm going to assume that's all we're doing, so I'm going to save and exit. Oh, there's more Thunderbolt stuff here anyway. Yeah, let's enable all the Thunderbolt things. I don't really want it to wake up for any reason. Okay, so now we're going to let it boot into Windows and see about some drivers. So far, nothing is on fire. That's good news. But nothing over here has really changed. Oh, it did change. It now knows there's a couple things going on. So, okay. Looks like it is not going to be plug and play. So I'm just going to run over and grab the drivers off their website. Yep, that's what we're after. Download. Just extract them right here. Neat. I'm going to assume the only... Hello. Okay. I'm going to assume the only executable is the thing we want to do. Yeah. Yeah. Sure, whatever. So, I think that glitch we had a moment ago is just an artifact of changing video outputs. Hello, are you up and running and doing stuff? Or okay, let's try Device Manager. Well, that's promising. Doesn't look like we've got any problems. I'm going to reboot it just for sport. Okay, that all looks good. At this exact moment, I don't have anything that will actually utilize the full functionality of these ports. So I'm just going to plug a hard drive into them. Got a USB-C to C cable for my dock. I'm just going to plug it into one of the random USB-C ports on the back of the new card. Kick my hard drive dock on. We'll see if we get another hard drive. Not yet, we don't. There it is. All right. Yay, thumbs, whatever direction that is on the camera. Sweet. Alrighty, so for the purposes of this video, we are done. That card is in there and it's installed. Like I said, I don't have any meaningful way to really test it out right now, but I'll give you a spoiler alert for the direction we're headed. This is a dock for super duper fast external SSDs that I'm going to cover in a separate video. So, if you're super excited to see that, like, subscribe, stick around, all that stuff. Go down in the comments, tell me all the stuff I did wrong. But it's unlikely you actually have enough time for that. So as always, guys, I want to thank you for stopping in, for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.